That's right, it's time to once again tank my viewing metrics by talking about a thing no one cares about. This time the dart landed on a game about driving a wacky taxi through the city to drop off your fares before time runs out? Wait, I thought people liked Crazy Taxi. Oh. Despite the overt similarity of taxi-based gameplay, Smash and Drive is a whole other animal in everything from aesthetic to execution. Where Crazy Taxi has open levels where you're scrambling to both pick up and drop off passengers, Smash and Drive has linear levels with set passengers, making it more of a time trial execution puzzle as opposed to a survival game. Where Crazy Taxi has a somewhat normal car that takes some insane drifts and jumps, the Smash and Drive taxi is constantly transforming through the use of power-ups. Where Crazy Taxi has a soundtrack filled with punk rock songs from bands like The Offspring and Juliet Dagger, Smash and Drive has original bangers such as
Loosen up your diapers. Get your guts growling. Loosen up your diapers. Step on it, step on it, step on it, step on it, step on it.
Smash and Drive was originally developed by a Spanish company known as Guileco. It has 3 linear stages of increasing difficulty, with one unlockable challenge for beating all 3. With the exception of the bonus stage, all stages feature 3 passengers in a sort of relay race. In order to successfully beat a stage, you need to get all your passengers to their destination before time runs out and before your rival cab crosses the finish line. Smash and Drive's central gimmick is the transforming car. Large power-up orbs change your car in various ways. You might pick up a rocket booster, monster truck wheels, a battering ram, or a supersonic horn. Interestingly, these power-ups are able to stack. A rocket booster and a battering ram turn you into an unstoppable juggernaut, quickly mashing other cars into a fine paste. Each level features shortcuts and alternate routes. Some require the use of a power-up, while others simply require your perception and reflexes. Your taxi also has a health bar. Hit too many cars without taking a repair module and you'll actually get a lower score. Interestingly, Smash and Drive has cutscenes in the arcade version that were removed for the home console ports. These cutscenes were simply the beginning and end of a fare, the pick up and drop off, but these were a small bit of personality that was removed from the game for seemingly no reason. Considering how short the game is, I can't imagine it was straining for space on the GameCube and Xbox discs. Now, I'm not here to tell you that Smash and Drive was secretly a brilliant game. It was a fairly short arcade game with an interesting concept, but it doesn't always feel like it's putting its all into things. The music, for example, is very short, looping constantly. The lyrics are hard to parse, almost sounding nonsensical. The levels are decently wide, with alternate routes hidden through the course. Although the alternate routes you need to take are often very automated, making it feel as if the optimal path is essentially rail switching, turning towards whatever set piece allows the game to play itself. But even then, the real killing blow is that there are only 4 levels in total. Even on an arcade cabinet, 4 fairly short linear levels feels light. For the home port, this leads to a game that, in its entirety, can be experienced in under an hour. Crazy Taxi can get away with having fewer locations because it's an open area with dozens of passengers and destinations. You're meant to keep coming back and learning secrets, shortcuts, and tricks, as you might do if you were learning to drive around an actual city. Fares don't always send you forward to a new place, as some choose destinations you've already passed or even been to. This doubling back gives you repeat exposure to sections of the map, training you to memorize the city and the location of ramps in order to maximize your score. The better you get at Crazy Taxi, the longer you can have a run last. Conversely, Smash and Drive's narrow design with big arrows and orbs signposting most of its major shortcuts makes it feel short and rather homogeneous. Failing to hit an alternate route is more often an execution error than a result of not knowing it's there. Combine this with a fairly forgettable soundtrack, and it's just not the kind of game that lends itself to repeat playthroughs. So, okay then, why am I even making a video about this? Well, when you have the specific kind of video game brain I do, one that has normal thoughts about video games, it's just a fact that you will inevitably develop a fixation on some forgotten or bad game. Whether it's a licensed game you swear by, a bad game you claim is secretly a genius, or an arcade game only you remember, you will develop this obsession at least once in your life. And I have, because this taxi fucks. The transforming taxi, the central gimmick of this game, the glue that holds it all together, burrowed deep into my brain and made me the #1 Smashing Drive fan. I would absolutely let this taxi smash. Honestly, my only actual complaint about the game is how short it is. While others find it to be a problem, I'm fine with the linearity and the soundtrack. I think the levels are fairly tightly designed, making for fun, execution-based time trials. Plus, the power-ups are almost all tailored to make explosive, chaotic fun. Except for Cutter. Cutter is the F tier on the power-up list. While I don't replay it with the frequency of other games, I do still think about it from time to time. Really, if the footage or any of what I've said got you interested in it, I suggest you give it a shot. Or at least I would if it weren't for another one of the recurring villains of this channel. Yup, Smashing Drive is yet another victim of the nearly non-existent efforts to preserve video games. Some local arcades may still house this cabinet, but that hasn't been the case for most of the ones I've visited in recent years. This also isn't one of those Xbox games you can play on your Series X. You'll need a GameCube, original Xbox, or Xbox 360 capable of playing Xbox games. This game is well and truly stuck on aging hardware. It doesn't even have an abandonware PC port to fall back on. The more nautically inclined of you may know where to find it without dealing with old hardware, but I can't legally advocate for that kind of action. However, I do have a possible solution I'd like to propose. Guileco executives, I'm speaking directly to you now. I, Ms. Fox, am interested in acquiring the rights to Smashing Drive if you haven't already sold it off to Pico Interactive. In other videos, I've half-jokingly suggested I want to work on some franchise or revival of a property from a big-name studio. But in this instance, I am 100% serious. I would like to fully own Smashing Drive, and so my opening offer for the full intellectual property rights to, and all development files for, Smashing Drive is $100. I'll even pay the price of converting my dollars to euros. $100 may seem like a small offer, but you've done literally nothing with the game since 2005. My offer is $100 more than the game has made you for the past 2 decades. As I understand it, Guileco no longer makes video games, now mainly focused on electronic dartboards, so clearly you won't miss owning this game. I'm not some gaming company who can write a big check to acquire intellectual property that I'll hoard and bury. Instead, I'm probably the only person on the planet who can legitimately call herself a Smashing Drive fan. So at the very least, you know I'll treat the game right. This is a completely serious offer. And in the case that Pico does own Smashing Drive, my previous offer applies to them instead. But if Pico do own Smashing Drive and aren't interested in parting with it, at the very least I can offer you my crispiest Abe Lincoln if you ever decide to put the game up on Steam. So you've got exactly 1 guaranteed sale on the horizon. But with all that said, this is where the video ends. As much as I'd like to keep talking about Smashing Drive, there's not much else to say without repeating myself. But what about you? If you stuck around here till the end, you've certainly got the same obsessive video game brain that I do. So what obscure game do you head the one-person fan club for? Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll watch again in the next video.